so this is going to be a really quick one as it is the last day of half term. So I won't be setting you work over half term other than just obviously going over your notes again and looking at maybe some things we're going to do for after half term in relation to your project. But other than that, this will be the last thing that you'll need to do just for today's lesson. So just really looking at lists. Now, this shouldn't be too much as most of you have already been using them, but I just need to explain how powerful the use of lists are, and they will really underpin a lot of the work that you're going to do in your programming projects. Some of you didn't need to use them for the banking application, whereas some of you did. I know, for example, looking at the work that we did with Harrison, there was the whole transactions part. Lists became very, very important. So with that in mind, having done your work on arrays, you'll know that they're very, very similar in nature, but these are actually specific to Python. And a big part of that is the fact that Python is predominantly used in the industry for machine learning and data science. So not great for game development, that big for app development, but absolutely massive in the field of data science and machine learning. And a big reason for this is it's a way that you can manipulate and work through sets of data in such an efficient manner. So that's really what you're going to be kind of doing some research around. So nothing needs to be imported to use lists. We know that we can just literally use them, and they're mostly used in a one-dimensional, two-dimensional format. They're dynamic data structures, so unlike arrays, they can grow and expand as needed. You do not need to declare them before use, and also you can have mixed data types, so mixtures of strings and integers. Just to remind you of the syntax, so square brackets for putting the data items into, we give it a name, the same naming conventions that we use for variables, etc. And then we just list anything that is in a string in speech marks, and anything that is an integer or float just goes as is, and they are separated by commas. And then a 2D list essentially is kind of a list of lists. So you have your list encapsulated in your square brackets, and then they go in one outer square bracket, which says that this is all part of the same data set. So a couple of the methods that you should be familiar with: .append, .remove, .index, insert, etc., replace, and also how we call items from a list. So my list, this will print just the first index if it's a 1D list, and if it's a 2D list, it will print the first set of data. And then if it's a two-dimensional list, this here will give you the first row and the second column of data. So in that case, it would be 4. So a bit hard to visualize when it's laid out. So what I'd like you to do is do some research around what you can actually do with lists. And I want you to create quite a full list of kind of around 12 to 15 of the most commonly used available methods. There are pre-made lists, but obviously you're not going to copy and paste them because I pretty much know most of the resources that you're likely to use. So I'm going to ask that you make sure you explain it in your own words. But you're going to make a list of around 12 to 15 of the most commonly used methods. The concepts of using them, remember guys, are exactly the same. So it's this idea that we go through the rows first and the columns second. And what I'd also like you to do is I would like you to answer, why are they so powerful? Here we go. I did write it down. Research the advantages and disadvantages of using a list over storing elements in separate variables. So same question as last time, but more specific to a list. And also explain why lists are useful for when you need to iterate over data. So I'm talking about using a for loop or a while loop or some sort of looping convention to iterate, and which means to repeatedly go over or go through a group of data. Why? Why are lists useful for that? Why would we not have them in separate arrays, or why would I not put them in separate variables and so on? Okay, so that's really where you're going to look through what the link is. Okay, so I'm going to put this onto Teams with the 2 tasks or 3 tasks that you need to get done. And obviously we get that submitted along with the work that you needed to get submitted for your coursework, and then I will have a look at that over Easter and give you some feedback, and we'll have a little bit of a plan moving forward for after half term. All right, thank you.